McCarthy Insurance Group, serving the community for over 70 years. For home, farm, motor, life, health and business insurance, log on to mig.ie or free phone 1800 50 11 11. Probably your best call in 2024. Charles McCarthy Insurance is trading as McCarthy Insurance Group, is regulated by the Central Bank of Ireland.
Real people, real opinions, real talk radio. The multi-award-winning Niall Boylan Show.
A lot of industries have taken a bad beating over the last few years, and many had to adapt and pivot to the changing world. One such industry, of course, is hospitality, and it's fell on its knees during the pandemic. But now it's bouncing back, I hope, for a lot. Some sadly had to close down, but not without its own issues. Tonight we're joined by an industry expert to discuss the state of the sector, but not only that, to discuss him. This is like This Is Your Life, really, isn't it? You know what I mean? Do you remember that programme? This Is Your Life. Paul Treyvaud, the owner of Treyvaud's restaurant in Killarney and creator and presenter of Treyvaud's Travels and Treyvaud's Kitchen. He promotes Ireland as a premium destination with fantastic food all over North America, Canada, and Amazon Prime and multiple streaming platforms. And he joins me on the line. He's the kind of celebrity chef. Hi, Paul.
Jeez, I have to meet that guy. He sounds deadly nice.
He does sound fiercely interesting, doesn't he? And if it wasn't for the fact I know you, I would have believed it all, to be honest with you, Paul. Paul, how are you keeping? I mean, look, okay, first, let's just tackle the beast here. I mean, how's business?
Business is tough at the moment. We're lucky. We're one of the lucky ones. We're Treyvaud's restaurant there in Killarney on High Street. We're started in 2003. We've built up ourselves a great reputation of delivering real quality food, Irish, with a kind of an international team.
And you're the product as well, by the way. You're part of the product.
Yeah, there's a lot of that. I'm very lucky. I've got my brother who's with me as well, business partner, and then the main kind of chef inside in the restaurant. I've done obviously a lot of stuff over promoting the restaurant through my TV shows that I had. Doing a huge amount on social media, as you know. So, I mean, people are coming in to see the madman, try the food.
The mad fella off social media. I'm going to have a steak and look at him for a while.
Yeah.
So, I mean, look, you were hit bad with COVID. You were the worst hit, actually, out of all the industries. The nightclub industry, the bar industry, the hotel industry, but particularly as well the restaurant industry. There was a stage where you were allowed limited amount of people in and all that, which didn't make any money, of course. Now, the government did give some money to keep a lot of places open. Sadly, a lot of places went to the wall and didn't make it. You did. And are you back now to where you would have been before COVID?
No, is the very honest answer to that. We're now faced with another huge challenge that, again, was out of our control. That's having a big challenge in our industry. And it's not just Killarney or Kerry. It's now widespread throughout the country. And that's a lot of our tourism accommodation has been given over to refugees and asylum seekers. So Killarney, for example, it's probably about 35% of the tourism accommodation has gone over, which sounds a lot until you compare it to other small towns that you're hearing that it's nearly 80, 90, 100%.
Which would normally during this time of the year full of American tourists or foreign tourists.
Yeah. I mean, like, to be honest.
So by the way, where are all the tourists staying then? Where are they staying?
Well, I mean, they're kind of, I suppose, it's supply and demand. So what's coming into Killarney is what gets the rooms that are left and the hotels that are left. But then they're kind of going further afield, which is great for other towns. So they might be branching out to Tralee or the wider circle of Killarney. But there's, like, you look at, say, something like Derrynane. Derrynane is a small little town, if even, and it's got one hotel down there. And the whole hotel has been passed over to refugees. And like, I mean, not only is the knock-on effect for the people that would have been staying in the hotels obviously now gone, but I mean, like the people who were getting their jobs during the summer there, students who were working in a couple of hours every week just to make a few bob, that's all gone as well. So it's a major challenge. I'm not too sure the government thought about what they were doing.
Yeah, so the local community, the local commercial industries in the area would be affected because, of course, the refugees don't have much money. Tourists come in with wallets full of money and they want to spend it. So they're not going to be going to Treyvaud's restaurant with the greatest respect, and they're not going to be spending their money.
Yeah, no, as simple as that. So, I mean, like, whilst the hotel trade statistically might be coming out saying, well, we're full, but I mean, it's basic economics here. So let's just say, for argument's sake, it is 40% that's gone. So they're all full with refugees, and that's, citing that they're 100% full. The 60% that are left, supply and demand, means that they're also going to fill up. But the subsidiary businesses, the bars, the restaurants, the knick-knack shops, the touristy kind of gadgets, the Jarvies, even the taxi drivers, all those kind of businesses. And Killarney has two businesses. It has tourism and it has the Lieber crane building company. So if you affect one of them, that means, well, we're technically 40% down the footfall in the town. And that's where the major issue is. I said, we're very lucky. We're a long-standing restaurant. We're there over 20 years inside in Killarney. Thankfully, even though some people might argue with me on Twitter in particular, we have a great reputation. So we're okay. I mean,
but what you're saying to me is you essentially jump from one crisis to another.
Yeah, I mean, well, look, every business is the same. I don't want to come across like poor fella, the people listening in there. There's your man giving out and pissing and moaning again. I mean, like every business has suffered from, the financial crash to Brexit to COVID to now this. And it's kind of like being self-employed at the moment is just so damn difficult, because you do everything to make sure your staff still have a job. So you sacrifice everything. You work extra hours yourself. You stop your pension. You dig into your savings. You do everything you possibly can to keep your business afloat, because at the end of the day, it's like your baby. You love it. So you do everything you possibly can to not make it.
Oh, you'll work for free. I know, I've been in that situation. You work for free, and you'll pay other people who are working with you, and you take no salary.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay, but look, I mean, being self-employed is a tough thing to do. So setting out in business in the first place was a tough challenge. And what kind of brought you? I mean, firstly, were you always interested in food, or did you just like eating? I mean,
thankfully, this is radio, because if this was TV, the answer would probably be the latter. I do love my food now. I'm not gonna lie, and I like the odd glass of wine too, or a pint. But I come from a family of hospitality experts. I suppose Dad was the original executive head chef in Jury's in Ballsbridge when it was Jury's. It was regarded as the top 5-star hotel in the country. Dad has cooked for Elvis, he's cooked for Muhammad Ali, he's cooked for Princess Grace. Every single politician in the 70s and 80s, Dad was doing all the functions in the hotel for him. And this was like a monster of a machine. Like they're doing 5,000-6,000 people a night throughout the restaurant, the function room that they had on, the coffee dock. There's people listening now will remember the coffee dock.
I remember that. 1 hour. I remember. I spent many a morning in the coffee dock.
Absolutely, after Leeson Street probably. And so I mean, I was very lucky. I'm the baby in the family. And so Dad was coming to early retirement as I was growing up. But I mean, like, Dad was gone 7 days a week. And that's just what you did back in the 60s and 70s. He would tell me, interest rates on mortgages were 22, 23%. He was paying 76% emergency tax. And we think we have it tough now. Dad was going, like, you cancelled 3 of your 6 holidays for this year. We didn't have holidays back then. Like, I mean, it was a different world, obviously, but it was always his
it was only the very I can even remember when it was only the very rich went away on a plane. And you know, I was very lucky because my father worked in Aer Lingus, so we got a free flight once a year and we got cheap flights. But I remember on the road, like, you would always be saying, "Oh, the Murphys are going foreign this year." That was a big deal, because they were going to England or something, or Spain or somewhere. They're going foreign. It was never heard of to go to America. That was a massive deal. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. I mean, and that's why when you think about it now, people are kind of going, like, it's hard to think back. I mean, I know I'm almost 50 now.
Oh, sorry, we have Paul. I have Paul back there. Sorry. Yeah, sorry, Paul. I lost you for a second. Okay. Yeah. So it was a tough challenge. So what made you then decide, I want to get into the business? When did you start cooking? Were you cooking from a young age?
Yeah, I remember, like, when Dad was coming home and he had a bit more time in the house, I was sitting on a stool watching him, frying a steak, cooking the chicken, making a sauce. And it was more his love of what he did. He was still is. He's 86. He'll kill me for saying that. But just a total pro. You know when you're just watching somebody who's just brilliant at what they do. And I suppose that's where it was in the blood. And I just loved the fact that he loved what he was doing. And then Mom was in this kind of front of house hospitality, which is, I think, where I got my gift of the gab. Maybe that and kissing the Blarney Stone a few times. But I mean,
I wouldn't be kissing that now. God knows many people have kissed it before you. But go on.
so I mean, that's where I kind of, like, it was in our blood and all our family. And Mom made the biggest mistake by telling us not to get into the business. Imagine that now, your parents.
That's the first thing you're going to do.
Yeah. So I went to Carbrew Street and studied hotel management and business studies, and then I kind of set on the journey of working in different hotels, different bars, restaurants around the country and around the world. Mm-hmm. And then I decided it's time to do it myself. It's funny, actually, because I worked in one hotel chain, a family hotel chain, And we kind of cut a long story short. I wrote a book. It's called The Hooker in the Lobby. There's some very funny stories in it.
The Hooker in the Lobby?
The Hooker in the Lobby, yeah.
Yeah, go on. Tell me the story of the Hooker in the Lobby. I'm dying to know now.
So the Hooker in the Lobby, I was working in a very well-known hotel in Dublin. And I was...
Is that the one that's not? Is that the one that's not there anymore?
No, it's still there.
Okay, because I thought you were going to talk about the Royal Dublin. Do you remember the Royal Dublin Hotel?
I do, of course, I do.
Which was very famous for the Hooker in the Lobby. But go on.
So I'm the manager on that night, and we're kind of finishing up around 11:30 or 12. And at the time, the manager's office was right behind the reception desk. You could see straight into the lobby. And I was, doing my bits and pieces, and all of a sudden I look up and I see this woman completely naked in the middle of the lobby. And I'm talking, there are like 50, 60 to 100 people walking in and out of the bar, restaurant, front door. And I'm kind of going, am I the only one that can see this? So I go straight out to the night manager who was coming on. I went, can you see what's going on? He goes, yeah, we were wondering what. We said, mother of God. I said, go get a sheet or a towel or a blanket.
Cover her up, for God's sake. Mind the children.
Absolutely. But the incredible thing was people were just kind of walking by going, all right, okay.
A naked woman.
Absolutely. So I got her into the office and got her thankfully covered with a blanket. And I said, listen, now the area that we were in at the time would have been well known for, let's just say, the ladies of the night.
Yeah.
And I turned around and I said, listen, you've got one chance to explain what the hell's going on here. I said, otherwise, I'm going to have to call the cops. And she goes, I've just been pretty much assaulted in a room.
Oh, no.
Oh, my God. So I turn around, and I don't care what anyone says. When you hear a lady say that to you,
of course,
yeah. The first thing you do is you go into defense mode. So I said, give me the room number. Part of this is actually very funny, and part of it is obviously then very sad. So she gives me the room number, and let's just say for argument's sake, it was 331. And she goes, they're foreign. So I look at it and I go, it's Scottish people that are in it. And I went, okay, Scottish, okay, maybe strong accents, I can see where she thinks. So I went up in the lift and I knock on the door, and I kid you not, when like a guy of around 90 opens the door and he says to me, is there a fire? I said, no, I'm really sorry, there's no fire. And he goes, come on, honey. He said, better get up. There's a fire. I said, there's no fire. I said, go back. I said, listen, I'm so sorry for, disrupting you. I said, look, we'll chat in the morning anyway. Cut a long story short, came back down. I said, right. I said, I'm going to have to call the guards. And she goes, well, then it was 313. And I went, I'm not going through every single room of this hotel to find out. And anyway, I said, do you know what? I could see that she was shook. So I put in 313 into the computer. And all of a sudden I see 3, I won't say the country, just in case somebody's going to give out to me, but it was 3 definite foreign people. And I went up and I went, oh, my God. Anyway, they wouldn't open the door. I had the master key to go in. And they basically called me every name under the sun. And I went, all right, lads, no problem. So call the boys. And the guards arrived down. And the biggest guard I've ever met in my life walked through the door. He looked about 8 foot. He looked like a man out of Game of Thrones. Anyway, came in, no problems, Paul. We'll take it from here. So up we went, took the passports and turned around to your man. He says to the 3 guys, you're going to spend the night in with us now, lads. You can do whatever you want in our country, but you don't abuse our women. So to cut a long story short, I came back down to her, to the girl, and I said, listen, sorry about that. The guys are saying you're a prostitute. She goes, no, I'm a hooker. And I went, okay. And I went, is there a difference? And she goes, well, there is to me.
Okay.
And I went, look, my thing is that you are protected, you're okay, and that you're safe now. And I said, listen, and we kind of...
And the 3 of them were arrested?
The 3 guys were arrested. So when I rang the guards afterwards, and they said they're getting a flight actually back home tomorrow at around 10, so we'll release them around 10:30.
Right, so they were chucked out of the country royally.
Exactly.
Nowadays, they would have spent the night in a cell and then be brought to a court the next morning and lashed into jail, hopefully.
Absolutely. As I said, like this is 20 odd years ago.
Course,
but I mean, the funny thing is I was roll on the clock about, this is actually more, it's about 25 years ago. So roll on the clock there about in 2004, 2005, and we'd open up our restaurant in 2003. And somebody turns around to me and she goes, is there chicken on the chicken bruschetta? And I pissed myself laughing because I thought they were joking. And I said,
chicken on the chicken bruschetta.
So seriously, what are you having? And she goes, is there actually chicken on the chicken bruschetta? And I went, geez, you're actually serious. So when I put the order through, I went up to the office and I said, you know what I should do? I should actually just start writing down stupid questions of what people ask me in the restaurant. And about an hour later, I had 3 chapters written in my book. So it's basically the behind the scenes, how staff speak. There was a famous sign on the doors in Jury's Hotel.
I was going to do that once as a DJ. I worked in the DJs in the nightclubs, and it was the stupid things people said to you when you come up, or the most obvious things that people say to you. People say, the most common thing said to every DJ, and every DJ will resonate with this one, will say is, somebody would come up, usually a girl, and they go, have you got anything decent? That was, I don't know what it is, but I had an answer for all of these sayings. My answer usually was, no, I haven't. That usually, they kind of go, oh, okay. Or they say, will you play something decent, you know? Or what have you got? Yes. You know, like, we used to have thousands of records, and they'd go, and they'd say, what have you got? And I go, oh, hey, do you want to have a look? Or do we start at A and we go to B? Anyway, you became a chef. You decided to open your own restaurant. I'm not going to cut a long story short. It's just I'm conscious of a lot of texts I want to read out to you here, by the way, about people looking for tips. But you became a chef. You decided, I'm going to open my own restaurant. At what point did you become the celebrity chef or the TV chef? When did that break come along?
Well, it was funny. So I have an issue with a lot of TV chefs. This is funny when you think about it, because a lot of them are, full of shite, basically.
Yeah, egotistical arseholes. Yeah.
Well, I mean, it's like when you watch anything that's on TV. I mean, if you saw, a reality DJ show, or you'd be kind of going, that's not how you do it. So I started doing a lot of stuff on social media, and the first video I did was filmed on the crappiest of crappiest phones. The pixels were awful on it, and basically it was back in, I think it was around 2000 and, I'm trying to think, about 2012 when we had really bad snow. And maybe 2010, can't remember offhand. But anyway, we had really bad snow, and it was the first time we were beginning to pick up for the winter after the kind of financial crash. And I said, this is great, we're flying. And then all of a sudden, the media are fantastic. We've snow for 3 weeks in Ireland, and everybody started cancelling. I said, geez, it could be 20 degrees tomorrow in December. You just don't know. Anyway, we got one big group that canceled their Christmas party, and I had a pair of shorts, a T-shirt. I went up the top of the Kerry Mountains, and it was about minus 10 degrees. I had a few scallops, and I cooked off this dish, and I called it freezing my scallops off. And I had no shoes on. I had a tiny T-shirt on, and it was cold. So
I tell you, did freeze your scallops off, actually.
Yeah, absolutely. So uploaded it up onto Facebook, and the following morning, it was about 150,000 views. Now, that was when 150,000 views was
a big deal, of course,
I said, geez, this is mad. So good pals with Keith Barry, and he was yapping away. He said, you got to keep going. You can't stop now. You can't be a Chesney Hawks, which are one-hit wonder. You got to keep going with something else. So I said, you know what I'll do? I'll cook up a tree. No one's ever climbed up a tree and cooked up it. So I went up in the brother-in-law's farm, about 150 feet. I actually should have made a video of me climbing up in the tree, because it was insane what we did. But anyway, went up and I cooked quail. And I was kind of taking the piss by saying, listen, it's not, never mind local. It's all about bringing the food back to where it came from. Cooking quail in a tree. Now, anybody knows anything about food knows quail can't fly. But that was my subtle dig at all these other TV chefs going, I know you're talking nonsense, guys. So again, that got a huge amount of views. And then all of a sudden, I challenged the then Minister for Health to a race, because they were talking about putting calories on menus. Won't mention any names. Anyway, and I picture outside the front of the restaurant with my sweatbands on and my shorts and my tennis gear, and we're going to run 83 meters and all this kind of stuff. And all of a sudden, that just went all over the place. And then I entered a competition on YouTube run by Simon Cowell, which is basically, Britain's Got Talent, but the world's got
chefs.
talent. Yeah. And one of the categories was cooking. Jamie Oliver was the judge, and all of a sudden he goes, I've no idea how to pronounce this guy's name, but this is definitely one to watch. And that was the huge turning point. All of a sudden I'm on the Brendan O'Connor show. I'm having a laugh. We're chatting with a well-known station here in Ireland, well-known network, about doing a load of shows, and all of a sudden died. Nothing. And I went, what the hell? And about 2 months later, I see my idea on the show, on the TV. This is very common in the world of TV.
Of course,
I can't believe this. So then there was a new channel that started off. I don't know if people remember Irish TV.
I remember Irish TV. Yeah, that was based in Kildare somewhere, was it? Or?
Yeah. Down in Westport in the Mayo, but they had kind of production companies all around the country.
I know the guy. I know the guy responsible for it. I knew the guy he was actually a presenter on this radio station for a while.
That's right. Mm-hmm. So all of a sudden they ring me up and say, what's the story with this other channel? And I went, well, it looks like it's fallen true. So they went, well, will you be our resident TV chef? And I went, really? And it was car crash TV, the stuff that was going on, because it was zero budget. Not alone like a small budget. It was
known him,
budget.
Yes, it was zero budget, yeah.
So we made actually 9 episodes out of my old YouTube videos that were filmed on crappy camera phones. But do you know what? It proved the point. My greatest TV chef that I watch is Keith Floyd. He's an absolute.
Now, I was just going to mention Keith Floyd. So Keith is the guy who gets pissed while he's cooking.
Yeah.
He's the one who goes, okay, just put a half a glass of wine into the chicken and drink the other half yourself. Oh, no. I love it. I absolutely love it. I used to watch him years ago. And I used to watch that other... my mother used to always watch this couple. They were an elderly couple. Fanny Craddock.
I know who you're on about.
Was it Fanny Craddock?
Fanny Craddock was amazing. She'd say, at the Christmas now, this was back in
and
the...
she had her husband standing beside her. He was like a lapdog.
Yeah, and whatever you do, don't let him carve the turkey. He thinks he can carve the turkey. Don't let him carve. Tell him to pour the wine. She was brilliant. It was absolutely brilliant.
By the way, loads of people are texting questions here for you, by the way. Somebody says, no, can you ask the chef, do you get all the starch off the cooked pasta, washing it with hot water? It doesn't seem to take it all off.
So what I do now is, and a load of the videos that I do is, I say, so boil up your pasta as per the packet instructions, and then refresh it, which means you just run it under cold water. And then that way you can cook it again anytime you want. You can throw it into a frying pan and heat it up. You can put it 30 seconds into a microwave to heat it up. But after a day or two, the starch will come back out again. And that's what the caller is saying there. It gets stodgy and it feels like it's all stuck. And all you have to do is just rinse it again under the cold water to get rid of all that. Some people will say cover it all in oil and that way it won't stick. That's a waste of oil. Just take out whatever you need and rinse it under cold water again. Problem solved. Save your oil. And, by the way, there's all these TV chefs who'll turn around and say, put loads of salt, make the water taste like the sea. A load of crap. Have you ever tasted the sea? It's
disgusting.
Wild.
Yeah,
don't put any salt. Just boil it in plain water and then season your sauces that you're going to cook the pasta in afterwards.
Somebody else says, Paul, what is the best way to dry chili peppers, garlic, etc., to grind up later on for seasoning?
Well, I'll tell you what a load of people do is that we don't really have the weather, even though we're having it right now at the moment, is they'll put kind of like a sewing needle through with thread and just hang it at the windowsill for the sun to come in.
We used to do that with the magic mushrooms when I was 17. Because
no comment. but I'll tell you now, if you're growing them and you want to, some people put them into the hot press or that kind of stuff. But if we're getting the weather, what they do in Spain and Portugal is they lie them out on these huge kind of grates and the sun, they're actually, where you get the sun-dried tomato, they kind of dry naturally out there. But the world we're living in nowadays is you can get such good quality stuff in supermarkets, in great delis and local delis, or even online now. Buy them. That's my... it's like the sweet chili sauce. How do you make sweet chili sauce? There's a fella in Taiwan who does it brilliantly. Just give him the cash and get it off.
Buy it in Asda.
Aldi,
sorry.
Too short for that.
Yeah. I have to say, chili sauce is so cheap to buy anyway. Why would you want to make it yourself?
Well, what's the point? Yeah.
So this is, hi Niall, just having a salmon darn. What's a salmon darn? I don't know.
So a salmon darn,
well, he says there's a sprinkle of lemon juice and into the oven, basmati rice, mixed veg, cooked in vegetable stock cube. Has Paul any tips to make it a better meal out of it?
Absolutely. Pop open a glass of Shiraz or even a nice kind of Sauvignon Blanc. Tom Dorley would love me for that now, giving a Shiraz red wine with salmon. Drink, that's always a great thing. I think I'll have white wine because I'm having chicken or I'm having fish. The rule is drink whatever you like. Doesn't matter a damn. If you like red wine with fish, drink it. So that's all you have. Just make sure it's seasoned right. That's the most important thing in cooking. I say in all my shows, it's season. That's the most important thing. If you season the most amazing ingredients badly, you'll ruin it. But if you season the average, a chicken drumstick that you get in the supermarket,
it tastes wonderful.
You taste amazing.
I know,
So, and seasoning is salt and pepper. Just use flaked rock salt all the time. Never mind that powdery stuff that's rotten. When they take out all the good salt from the mines, that stuff is left on the ground. Use the proper flaked rock salt. It's fantastic.
Okay, I was told I have a starred message here to play for you. Okay, let me just see if this will play all right. Let me just see.
Hi, Niall there. I just want to ask Paul, when you are roasting either chicken or turkey, is it a waste of time literally smothering the butter over it? Because I tend to find, I do it anyway, but I tend to find that the butter just runs off it. So am I just wasting that? So what I tend to do now is I tend to just put the butter inside the chicken, not inside, under the skin instead. Is that the right or wrong thing to do? And do you cover the chicken and then take the foil off?
Okay, there you go.
So there was a chicken question and a turkey question in there. So the chicken, So when you see all the guys saying put in a half pound of butter under the skin and all that, the second you put butter into a hot oven is exactly as the caller said. It's all in the tray, literally within a minute. And then you're opening and closing the oven to kind of baste it and all that. I've never basted a chicken or a turkey in my life, and I've never opened and closed the oven while it's been cooking. So what I do, I'm talking a standard chicken, large chicken now. It's about 1,900 grams, about 2 kgs of a chicken. 1 hour, 45 minutes. You put a tiny little bit of olive oil onto your hand and massage the skin. And the only reason why you're doing that is so that your seasoning will stick to it, because the chicken skin is naturally fatty and it's going to crispen up anyway. So I've never put butter on it. I've never put a load of stuff into it to kind of smother it with fat. You don't need to do it all. 180 degrees, make sure the oven is preheated, and take it out after 1 hour and 45 minutes. Your chicken is cooked perfectly. I roast my turkey every Christmas, and everyone says, oh, it's 20 minutes per pound plus 20 minutes. And you hear these guys with a 16-pound turkey is, I don't know, do the maths there, whatever. It's nearly 6 hours. It wouldn't take 6 hours to cook me. So I do it for a turkey. Is a big difference now. I put it in at a lower temperature, and I stuff a whole bottle of wine. And I have to clarify this because this is the world we live in. I said, no, pour the wine into the turkey. Don't put the actual bottle of wine into the turkey. Pour the wine into the turkey. Cover it loosely with tin foil for about 2 hours at about 140, 150 degrees. And then take the tin foil off and finish roasting it at 180. And the turkey is cooked, very simply, when the turkey is cooked, because everyone's ovens are different. So it might take me another hour, maybe an hour and a half maximum. I cooked a 20-pound turkey this Christmas in 3 hours. That's how long it took it using that technique. Okay. And you get the most perfect turkey every time.
My question, very quickly. I have a question from my producer as well, who's clearly as thick as plank. But she says she's pretending that she's actually put up my screen pretending it's a text from a listener. And I know it's not, because I can see the text from the listeners, right? So I'll come to her text in a second, all right? But my question is roast beef. Now, for years, I've been cooking it in cooking oil. But I've been told I'm wrong. I just can't seem to get it right. It's just too tough when I cook it.
Okay, so there's a couple of things. First of all, the joints that you use is very important, that you're using the right thing. So the perfect roast beef is the rib of beef on the bone. That's like the big ribeye steak, but you're getting it on the bone, and you're probably getting about 4 or 5 of the ribeye steaks together in one big lump. So it's lovely fatty meat. It's lovely. It's perfect for when you let it rest. That's what's crucial. You gotta let the beef rest. A lot of people take it straight out of the oven and start carving it straight away. So just imagine when you take the beef out of the oven, it's all like, oh my God, that was roasting in there, and it's all tight. And then you start slicing it straight away. All the juice falls out of it, and it goes as tough as hell. So beef, exactly like the chicken, is get a little bit of oil, rub it all over it, and season it well with your salt and pepper. And here's the greatest tip. Get a red hot pan, nothing else in it, that's big enough to put that beef in when it's smoking hot, and you basically just want to seal all around the beef. Then put it into your oven for about... So
no oil, no water, no oil.
No, so you've already oiled the beef, so put it into a dry pan. So that way, because otherwise if you put beef into a pan that's hot with oil, it'll start spitting all over the place at you, because beef will have a little bit of water in it as well. So oil the beef, not the pan. And then you put that into a red smoking hot pan, or if you don't have a pan big enough, maybe on a barbecue.
That won't burn the bottom of the beef or anything like that.
No, it won't. It'll just...
Because somebody else said to me, get a few slices of carrot and put it on that to keep it up off the bottom of the tray.
That's after you've seared it. So once you've sealed it all off, then that's called a trivet, a fancy name for a trivet. So that means the beef isn't touching the roasting tray. So you put it on a few carrots or a couple of diced up onions and garlic, and then that will form your gravy then afterwards. And then you just roast it for however well you want it done, medium rare, well done, whatever. But the important thing is you take the beef out, and you want to give it at least 20 minutes. Same with a leg of lamb. Okay. At least 20 minutes sitting there to rest.
Okay, I have 3 minutes here. And so here's the text, allegedly from a listener. Right? What is the quickest, most nutritious, idiot-free meal, please? I am totally crap.
Do you know what, actually? I'm going to tell you a brilliant thing. And this is for anyone who's listening who's got kids or themselves who are mad into sport. I do this once a week. I get 2 huge chickens, roast them off exactly like I said to you, an hour and 45 minutes. I boil up a bag of pasta, tagliatelle or penne pasta, whatever. And then I mix one chicken with half the bag with a pesto. And then I mix another chicken with the other half, or the other bag of pasta with some like sweet chili and lemon juice and all that kind of stuff, and I put them both into the fridge. And when the kids turn around and say, Dad, I have a soccer match, or I'm this or I'm that, a Gaelic or rugby, whatever, I say, go out there, take out your chicken and your pasta, bang it in the microwave for 2 minutes. You don't have to cook for the rest of the week for them. That is the most idiot-proof dish that you ever can do. And it's so simple. 1 day of cooking, 5 days of sitting back, listening to your microwave going, bing, dinner's ready.
Well, there you go, anonymous texter, Jane. There you go. You know now what to do with your idiot-proof
Tell her
week.
I'll WhatsApp her the video later.
All right. It's been wonderful talking to you, Paul. And I know you're getting a lot off your chest at the moment. You're getting it off. If people want to follow his social media, Paul Treyvaud, you will see he gets a lot off his chest. He tags me now and again just to entertain me. And he's getting a lot. And he even quotes me every now and again and has a go as well. He's a wonderful man. And the restaurant, of course, is in Killarney. It's called Treyvaud's Restaurant in Killarney. I still haven't had a chance to drop down to Killarney, and I will. I promised during COVID that time I will do it after COVID, but I definitely will get down to you. Because
as I tell everyone, Niall, that because they're all going to, once I hang up, they're going to go, what did they say the name of it is? And they'll never remember. So ladies, we're right across the road from Petty's, and lads, we're right beside Paddy Powers. Can't miss it.
Treyvaud's Restaurant in Killarney. And if you want to go down there, just give them a bell first. Make sure they have seats for you, all right? But they'll always try their best to look after you. And Paul will give you the personal touch. He'll even moan at the table for you if you want. I don't mean in that way.
For free.
Paul, it's been wonderful talking to you. You're a wonderful man.
And
we've known you many years. Listen, thanks very much indeed.
Take care.
There you go,
Bye-bye.
Paul Treyvaud, Treyvaud's Restaurant in Killarney. And don't forget, by the way, you can go online as well there, and you can book online as well. And don't forget as well, there is books available too, all available on Amazon Prime.
Real people, real opinions, real talk radio. The multi-award winning Niall Boylan Show.